PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Wanted to take just a second and tell you about my week. So I did a 3-day series with a dealership. It was a family-owned dealership in a smaller market, a very successful store. And I got to teach 3 different topics. I talked about certified cars, then I talked about being digital, and then I talked about the art of presentation. So there were several things that came up while we were there, but it gave me time to be able to look at the fixed operations, to be able to work with the salespersons and the managers, and just to look at the overall store. There's a thing going on in 2022, 2023, where on the new car side, most of the cars, especially high yield cars, they're not in stock. We're ordering the cars for the customer, and then we start waiting for the car to come in. Once the car comes in, we deliver the car. The waiting part is the thing that caught my attention the most, spending the majority of the week at the store. When I'm in a mode where I'm waiting and I'm not hustling and I'm not looking for something else to do or something else to create, then everything starts to be just flatlined. Everything was operating in the store at a performance level. The sales professionals were making good money for their family. Management was making good money. Service department was busy. They were also making good money, but they're at a plateau, and I think that's kind of what's going on in the industry right now. I showed them numbers. You know, everybody thinks that Toyota, the brand, is not building enough cars, but the amount of cars we're building and selling right now are basically the amount of cars we built and sold before COVID. It's just the demand for cars is unbelievable. I tried to explain that we were right about 18 million cars a year, and now we're right about 15. So each of these 3 years where the COVID and the chip shortage has caused problems has cost us about 9 million cars that people would have bought just on an average year. And so the used car industry is becoming excessively tough. Nobody wants to buy a bunch of used cars, and they get scared the market's going to change and they're going to lose value. But the market's really not going to change for a while. So I got to talk one-on-one. I mean, I really enjoy doing the training sessions, and I did 2 days of 2 different sessions, and then today I did or Friday I did a single session. And it's the after effect. It's when somebody comes back in and we do a one-on-one. You know, I don't think anybody wants to stop their progression. I know nobody wants pain. You know, that's why a lot of people don't work out, because it's painful to work out. It's easier to sit on the couch than it is to go to the gym. You know, it's easier to sit on the couch than it is to go out and run 5 miles or a 5K. And so, you know, people get in a deal where I'm doing okay and they stop pushing each other. So I would challenge everybody right now, if you're working with a group of people, and it doesn't matter what you do, the first thing you need to do is you need to support each other. You know, in a sales environment, we had a conversation where if there were 15 salespeople and you greeted a customer and said, "Hey, I'm Casey. Are you looking for somebody?" You said, "Yeah, I'm looking for John." At that point in time, you certainly can go get John, but why don't you take a second and say, you guys are working with John? Have you met him yet? No. Wait till you meet him. You're really going to enjoy him. I think that he's one of the nicest people I've ever met. I think you're really going to enjoy your experience with John. And it's crazy because when you walk away, that was so unexpected that now the heightened expectations about meeting John are going to go up. As a group of sales professionals, you can do that for each other. If everybody did that, then all of a sudden what happens is, you know, people start respecting each other, the customers start respecting you, and it opens the door. So those are some of the things I saw. Got to be careful, with my overall assessment, but I'm just saying, you know, when did the hunger stop? When it was competitive, gang, there's been times, and it'll be a cycle again, where every dealership had multiple cars. And every dealership was selling cars close to invoice. And then sometimes when there was factory money, we were selling cars back of invoice. The customer would come in, how far back of invoice will you go? Now we're selling everything at our asking price. And what it's caused is us to be a little lethargic. How about that word after a week? Lethargic. And so if you don't push yourself like tomorrow may never come, then you're leaving some of yourself on the table. I'll finish up a very close friend of mine, and there are great salespeople through the history of all sales. Some great car salespeople. They've written books of it. I'm the greatest car salesperson. But I've got to tell you, some of those people were great salespeople, but they were better salespeople than they were people. So I asked a friend of mine to do a video for the staff. His name is Jerry Sabanda. And when I played his video for the crew at the dealership, nobody moved, nobody blinked, and they listened to how he made a decision to go to the next level and what it did for his life and his family's life. That was the highlight of my week, watching the reaction that Jerry Sabanda got from that video. So Jerry, if you're watching this, man, you're amazing. And probably the most gifted salesperson I've ever met in my life. PK52, the Saturday Morning Meeting.